Hey, welcome back to the channel. Back in the garage today. I just finished cutting the grass. We're getting remnants of Hurricane Beryl up from Texas. Nothing as bad as what they got down there, just a lot of rain, so we'll figure to get the lawn cut. But anyways, when I was cutting the grass, I was actually listening to a podcast and people were talking about their most embarrassing moments. So that made me think about my most embarrassing moment on a motorcycle. Anyways, let's get into it. I am really liking how these are parked in here. Again, it takes a little extra to get them out, but it really cleans up the rest of the garage. So anyways, most embarrassing moment on a motorcycle. It's not hard for me to remember it because it was only about 5 months ago. And I still wake up every once in a while, or I'll just start thinking about it every once in a while, and it gives me the sweats. Not PTSD, I know it's nothing like that, but it makes me nervous of not just of the embarrassment of it, but also what could have happened if I didn't correct it quickly enough. And amazingly enough, it was not on either one of those bikes. Now, when I talk about my most embarrassing moment, I know it's most embarrassing as of right now. Things are going to change because, knock on wood, I shouldn't even say it, but haven't dropped a bike yet. Any bike, neither one of these or the ones in my course or when I've done any demo rides. But I almost did. So for this, we have to go back to the beginning of March of this year. I went down to Daytona Bike Week. So that's, as you can tell, where it happened. I didn't take my bike. I only had the one bike at the time. I didn't take that bike. I actually drove down because I ended up going through a snowstorm on the way back. So it wouldn't be smart to take a bike down there at that time of year. It's fantastic weather down there, but getting there from Southern Ontario isn't worth it. But yeah, down there, Daytona Bike Week. My wife and I thought it would be a great idea to go to the Harley-Davidson demo rides. Now, if you've ever been to a Harley-Davidson demo ride, it's fantastic. You get to pick which bike you want. You go jump on it. There's a leader. He leads you around. Goes to do their little loop. You just follow them. And there's, I don't know, 15 to 20 bikes depending on who's all going, and you cruise around. It's usually like a 10-15 minute ride. No big deal. I've done it a couple times here in Southern Ontario, and it worked out great. In Daytona, they actually had it set up a little differently. It was actually at the Daytona International Speedway, which is a pretty cool place to be at. Huge parking lot. So in Daytona, the way it worked is you registered for it, you picked the bike you wanted, you jump on, and they had a course set up, but it was around the speedway. It was out on the road, and you just went by yourself. Like, when there was a bike available, you went on, jumped on, and you went, which was a kind of a neat way of doing it, especially for me, because I don't have a lot of experience riding in groups, so this way I could go by myself and didn't have to worry about other people around. I could just take my time going around, go as fast as I want, as slow as I want, right? It's a pretty good way of doing it for people that aren't used to riding in groups. Now, the embarrassing part came when it was time to ride. Now, the way they had it is you go into their booth because it was all covered, and they had all the merchandise and everything, and then they would have different windows, but kind of like gateways over to the bikes that you want to ride. So they had it set up just how their website is, American Cruiser or American Tourer, Cruiser, Sport Bike, and Pan America or Adventure Touring or whatever the names are. That's how they had it set up. And when you would go, it was out in the parking lot, and they would have rows and rows of the different bikes in that category all lined up. So before I continue, I just would make an excuse for myself, the fact that it was March. I hadn't been riding for a while because it was winter here, and I've never ridden, well, I did ride a bagger, but that was a few years previous. I wasn't used to the weight of the bike I was on. So at the time that we were down there, as some might know, I really wanted the new Street Glide. I love that bike, so I wanted to take it out. My wife wanted to come for a ride. I guess the first chink in the armor for us was there was no backrest on the bike. The only backrest that were on any of the bikes there was an Ultra, but I wasn't really considering an Ultra at the time, so I wanted to try the new Street Glide. So we went with that one. So first embarrassing part was I had to get the guy to show me how to start it because it's not the same as these ones here. As you know, most Harleys, you flick the switch and then start it. With the new ones, it's you flick that switch and then you push it. Real simple, but yeah, the guy had to show me how to do it. Now that wasn't the most embarrassing. That was the start of the embarrassment. So we start up the bike. The guy starts to walk away. I tell my wife, "Are you ready?" And she goes, "I'm a little worried because there's no backrest, so go slow." So I'm going to go slow. I proceed to start, and this is when it went south. I was not ready for the weight of the handlebars, and we started going, and the bike just kept turning and turning and turning, and we were headed for every other American touring bike that was there. There had to be another about 10 other bikes all lined up there, and we were headed right for it, and literally inches away from actually hitting it. This is where my memory fogs up because I can't remember if I was able to correct it or if I actually put my foot down to prop myself back up. But I did avoid that and started moving all along and had to go started leaning, almost overcorrected and started leaning the other way, headed towards the cruiser lineup. Now there happened to be space in between, so I actually went in between. There was probably maybe 2 car lengths in between the bikes, and I actually went through there to a different lane. And it didn't stop there. I had full control of the bike at that time. I got the cobwebs out and I was just ready to go, but I was still in the parking lot area of where these bikes were before I actually went out on the cruise. And you could see other Harley Davidson people that worked there were on the course, and they all stopped and started backing up to get up onto the curb because they saw me coming. So that's where the embarrassing part came in. And to this day, I wake up in sweats, not only because I did it in front of people, because I don't like embarrassing myself. I still have issues parking because I don't like parking in front of other people. It wasn't even that. It was how much damage I could have caused at the Harley Davidson demo ride, crashing into all those bikes. And I was just a few inches away from that actually happening. So I still wake up 5 months later in sweats. I'm getting sweats right now just thinking about it. It's actually humid here. It's not because of that. But yeah, that's my most embarrassing moment on a bike so far. But anyways, I'd like to hear what some of your embarrassing moments on motorcycles are. It all happens to all of us. So, I'll have to take it with a grain of salt, and hopefully these waking up in the night sweats finally go away. But anyways, until next time, later.